Hello, everybody. This is a completely different kind of video than I'm used to making, completely different kind of content than I'm used to making. Those of you that know me, my name is Bodie, but you mostly probably know me by Zaffa or Zaffa underscore gaming. I, for the last 10 years, have been a Twitch streamer, and I wouldn't call myself a YouTuber because I just upload clips, but absolutely in love with streaming and making content for all of you that support me, and I appreciate it. Today, we have something that I need to address, and we are going to be responding to a video that came out today by one Garedactyl, as you may have known him in the past. Those of you that have been with me and supporting me for years and years and years probably already know who this guy is and remember his content and his streams. For a long time, I was a supporter of his, and a lot of my community actually came with his community and kind of intertwined. And he spent a long time away from the internet, and there's all kinds of stories and speculations and whatever out there as to why he left and now as to why he has returned. And he put out a 48-minute long video today kind of addressing some things that I have some things that I need to respond to. It's very important. Now, to kind of paint the picture and set the mood, those of you who have been with me know that for, back in the day, the 2019, 2020, mostly 2019, this channel, or my Twitch channel, avid supporter of Garedactyl. I was a big fan. I watched all of his streams. He would occasionally come in and raid me. He was someone that I enjoyed viewing content of, and I was a fan. And there are a lot of things that happened that led to his departure of the internet, and he has since returned. Now, a few days back, those that were in my stream will have noticed that he popped back up and was in my chat. And he was instantly banned from my chat. And we'll get to why. Because there are my own reasons as to why I no longer wish or care to associate with Garedactyl. And there are other people that have their own issues that want nothing to do with him. And that's on him. And we'll discuss that. I can't speak for everybody that has cut him off. I can speak for me, and I can partially speak for the one person that was mainly addressed in this video of his, my fiance, Kai Kai, as everyone knows her on Twitch and on Discord and all that. There's only so much that I can speak out against, but I have a lot to say, and if this is something that needs to continue, I'll have more that I can put out there. This is not a hit piece. This is a response. So I'm just going to speak, from my heart as to what's going on. I've never made any kind of video like this. This feels very, very weird to me. Any kind of weird drama like this, but it needs to be addressed. 48 minutes of his video, and there's a lot in there that's not all about me, and it's not all about Kai, but it is relevant that I skim through some certain parts of it, and that's what I'm going to address. I can't respond to his entire video because it's not all about me, and it's not all about my fiance, but I can speak on certain things, and that's what I'm here to do today. A few different parts that I'm going to address. There's not really much that you can really see with the screenshots that, are on my video here, so we'll do our best, but a couple things that I want to listen to and give my feedback on. I guess we'll start right here.
It was a change of tone. I have no idea. Whenever we were doing our IRL streams, Johnny and I, we had a plan to like travel around the states, and we were going to meet one friend here, one friend there, that sort of stuff. One person we were going to meet was a guy named Zayfa Gaming. I do believe his real name is Bodhi. I hope he's doing well. But because of our moving situation and how we had to shift things around, we kind of didn't get to do any of the things we planned to do. We told our landlord that we were moving out, and then they panicked and basically said, okay, well, I need you out in the next 2 weeks instead of what we thought was at least a month. We had to shift things around, find someone to help like sublet the thing and take over our lease, and then we had nowhere to live for 2 weeks, Johnny and I.
So yes, first of all, I'm doing well, thank you. It's Zafa. I know you'd like to claim that we are such great friends. You never got my name right, even though I corrected you on it, as well as my other friends that would be in your chat. But God forbid you ever remembered how to pronounce my name. But that's irrelevant. It's true. It's very true. When him and Johnny were embarking on their IRL streaming journey, I'll call it, I was front and center, ready to consume that content and support him in any way I could. There were conversations of them making the trip to come see me and visit. Um, you know, Kudos to him. He sent me a little care package full of merch and stuff. It was super cool. You know, one thing that's not going to be addressed here is after he was banned from my channel the other day, he sent me a message, and I'm not going to go into reading all of it, but basically asking why I did that and how he was being nice, which shows that he completely forgot the reason that I stopped supporting him was because of this IRL streaming journey that they went on. Now, keep in mind here, full-time job, and I'm working a full-time job, and they're IRL streaming pretty much the entire day. Now, I am making sure that the entire time I am, whether working, my phone is lurking in his chat for support. Any chance that I can get to look away to type in his chat, I'm doing so. The one thing that this is some petty stuff, but this is just, what hurt my feelings, I guess, at the time was as they're on their road trip and they're streaming and they're talking about how, they do need money. They are, financially needing some money. So they had this fun little idea. Song requests for $1. And I thought, that's cool. Everyone loves song requests on Twitch. And $1, it gets to help out my homie. Why not? And for whatever it was, when they embarked on that road trip, his demeanor and attitude, at least it felt towards me especially, shifted and it began to feel very entitled. Now, I would donate $1 with a song request. There'd be no mention. Okay, maybe he missed it. I bring it up again. No mention. So you know what? They're new to this. We're all new to this IRL thing. Maybe he just never got the alert. Donate another $1 with the same song request, and I get like a snarky response, like "Okay, Zayfa, I get it. You want your song played. Stop spamming." I was like, "Whoa, okay. I'm literally donating money to you for you to play the song because it was your idea." Sure. Okay. These are, again, just petty little things that kind of drove me away from his channel, besides all the drama that is unfolding with everything else. Central Park, I remember. Him and Johnny, I think they met up with someone like a mutual friend or something, walking around Central Park. Now, at this moment, there wasn't a ton of people in his chat. It was kind of middle of the day, but I was in there because I was not at work at the time. And as unfortunately happens on Twitch sometimes. He was bombarded with like a hate raid. Just a group of people coming into his chat and saying horrible things, calling him the N word, calling him the F slur, just awful things. And he's trying to figure everything out. There's no other active mods in the stream. Kai and him had a falling out, as he mentions in this video already, so she was not in his stream. And so, with all that going on, I said, hey, dude, if you want to give me mod privileges, I'd be more than happy to clean out your chat. And that's what I did. He modded me, and I jumped in and I started banning people and cleaning up his chat for him so that he could continue and not have to pay attention to that hate raid. And so for the next few days or whatever, however long, I never asked to continue to be mod, but I was more than happy to do so to help him as he's, busy trying to figure out the IRL thing instead of like being at a normal setup and dealing with it that way, because he didn't really have mods that were active at the moment. So I stayed active. One thing that even he would admit is that Kai was the best mod you could ask for. She was engaging constantly, welcoming to every new viewer, kept the chat flowing, and kept the chat clean. I did my absolute best to replicate that. I did everything I could, and I felt like I was doing a pretty good job. He was appreciative of it at the time. Like I said, despite working or whatever I had going on in my life, I was always in that chat, helping move it along and welcoming every new person, thanking everyone for a follow, just all the support I could give. And I felt like I was doing a good thing for someone that I looked up to and that I respected. And he'd make these like kind of rude comments, like if I wasn't quite quick enough to get something, and it kind of hurt my feelings a little bit, but whatever, I kept it going. I knew that they were kind of stressing, dealing with whatever issues they had financially. So I'm just trying to keep a positive face, but in the back of my mind I'm like, dude, I'm here helping you. I have a life too. I have a full-time job. I have things in my life that I need to do. Also a streamer, by the way, but I'm doing everything I can to support. And then out of nowhere, him and Kai, I guess, kind of rekindled their friendship. And out of nowhere, I was kicked to the curb. Out of nowhere. Now, keep in mind, me and Kai did not really know each other beyond a viewer mod relationship in a stream. So she showed back up, and I'm immediately kicked to the curb. Hey, dude, I don't need you. I got my mod back. You're not active enough, so I can't justify keeping you as a part of the mod team. And I thought, really? For everything that I did to help while you were struggling with that, I was instantly turned off. And I was like, man, that feels pretty disrespectful and pretty hurtful, but whatever. I'm not going to make a big stink about it. I'll just quietly kind of disappear. And that's what I did. I quietly disappeared. It's trivial shit. It is what it is, but that's how I felt, and that's why I decided I'm going to sever ties here and wash my hands of it. That's my right to do so. I felt disrespected. I said, sure, you're a guy on the internet that I've never met in person, that I looked up to, but whatever. You talked down to me. A lot of times it felt like you thought that you thought I was beneath you. Whatever. Me as a person, not going to put up with that. So I left. No longer need to support. Best of luck to you. Whatever. So fast forward, and they have the big falling out between the two of them, and whatever. I don't come back. His Discord that she put so much time and effort into, that was gone. Me and her kind of talked. She kind of asked about, why I distanced myself. I asked about their thing, whatever. We talked for a long time. Fast forward however much time, and we bond, and we fall in love and get together, and here we are. Now, the big thing that he seems to think is that all these years later, we just never stopped talking about him. We never stopped thinking about him. We formed this hate mob. No. When they had a falling out, Kai has friends. And they talked to her about it. She vented. And they formed an opinion based on how their friend felt and decided that they wanted nothing to do with Gare. So be it. That's kind of where we're at with this whole thing. But some more points I want to talk to. I'm going to skip over some of this part here now because Gare gets into talking about the couple different places that they were allowed to stay at during all this, and gives kudos to them and gratitude to them for allowing him and Johnny to stay there. For some reason, Gare, you felt the need to include both of the family's last names, including one of their city and street that they lived on. Not sure the relevance of that to the story. I've talked to one of them today, and not very appreciative of you doing so. It's not my thing to do, but seems like a rather weird, kind of disrespectful thing to do. So I'm going to skip over all that in fear of further almost doxing. So I want to get into this part here really quick.
That we were flirtatious, and then maybe there were lines. One of the worst things I've ever said that I absolutely admit to was when referring to her kids, which as far as I could tell, were not her birth children, but she takes care of them. I think it was her brother's kids or something.
I'm going to stop there real quick. Okay. Immediately, there's a couple things that we can conclude here, or that I need to discuss. You talk about blurring the lines with her. You talk about flirtation and all that stuff. Let's make it clear, first of all, that you were aware that she had feelings for you since July of 2018. I have that whole message thread. If you need it, I can provide it. So you knew that she had feelings for you, and you would actively blur those lines. We'll talk more about that later. But the big one here, actually, let me redo this one just so we can really get the impact of it.
I absolutely admit to was when referring to her kids, which as far as I could tell, were not her birth children, but she takes care of them. I think it was her brother's kids or something.
Her children that she birthed. She was not taking care of her brother's children. Those two boys, her children. Like, one thing that you discuss in this, and it's actually at this part, but I'm going to again cut it short here, because although those who watch my streams and are actively involved in my community know the kids' names because they live with me and I am adopting them. Not relevant to right now, but you also included their first names, both of the young boys, in your video, which is not relevant to what you're trying to say. I don't know why you include their names on the internet. It's a little weird. And for any traffic that might come to this video who aren't familiar with me, I'm not putting that out. And if they watch your video, unfortunately, they're going to hear it, as well as the family's last names that you stayed with, including one of their street and city that they lived in. Very unusual. But this point that you're making at this part of the video right here is in regards to you contemplating if the children asked you to be their dad, would you say yes? And you make the point that you would, but drawing the line that it would not necessarily include a relationship with Kai, their mother, not their father's sister that's raising them, whatever, which is kind of weird. So you talk about how much you love these two boys. how great they are, and you would consider being a father to them, but you don't know that she's their birth mother. Unusual. But talk about, once again, blurring the lines. Blurring the lines, blurring the lines. You know that this girl has feelings for you, has a crush on you. You have that power dynamic over her as you are someone that she looks up to. And you're blurring the lines, talking about raising her children and all that stuff. It's very unusual. Your guys' whole conversation about her moving down there and whatever, that stuff that I can't speak on all of it, but there are things that I can say that we will get to as we get further. I want to move down a little bit more here. Forgive me again, I'm doing all this on the fly because I was not expecting to do this kind of stuff today.
Of my friends back ever again, unfortunately. But I am a creative person. I love making videos. I love making people smile, and I can't stifle myself in the regards of I want to make content. I want to make people happy. Ryan and Evan, both of them, have even called me the positivity king. Bless them both, and that's who I'd like to at least push out to be. I am sarcastic. I like memes. I don't know. I have a personality to me, of course, but at my heart as well, I'd like to think I'm the king of positivity, that sort of stuff. Call it cringe.
King of positivity. Because some of your biggest supporters would definitely have to disagree with that. Me, the positivity went out the window as soon as I started showing real support and helping you moderate your streams. Then the positivity was out the window. Then it felt like it was all woe is me, line my pockets, and don't bitch about it. That's the impression that I certainly got. Like, I would be subbing or gifting subs or donating, and a little thing such as, donating for a song request, and I get scolded live on stream. And then kicked to the curb after I take care of you when you're getting hate rated. I get kicked to the curb because I'm not quite supportive enough. When I'm doing as much of my free time as I can to help you in any way I can. Real positive. King of positivity. I don't know. There were times when I could see it, sure, but I don't know. Definitely wasn't always the case, and definitely from some other people that I know that I've talked to, you could definitely talk down to people seemingly out of nowhere and I don't know, make people feel pretty shitty. So not very positive in my mind. Let's move on here. What's this next part?
And I'll see if I can find any info on that. Okay, going back to this. Now, beyond our physical interaction, as I've said, I went to keep distance between us, and I was saying that should not have happened. I'm sorry, that was a mistake. Thank you, but I'm trying my best to keep the peace as much as possible with that, and saying I'm trying to date again. I was on Tinder and things like that, and at least quoting her before, it was, why do you feel the need to use Tinder, was something she said to me. Why do you always rush into things regarding me dating another person? Again, best friend, maybe they had the best intentions and things like that, but I haven't dated anyone since October.
Okay. You talk about your guys' experience. Again, let me throw it back to the fact that you knew since 2018 how she felt. And you allowed things to happen. And I'm not going to sit here and say that you did every single thing. You did it all. But you knew and you took advantage of that. She says these things here. Why do you feel the need to use Tinder? Why do you always rush into things? Don't you think maybe from her perspective that she's a little hurt? And maybe you could be a little bit more sympathetic, because all I see on these screenshots is her, I'm sorry, I know, I don't blame you, I trust you, I'm sorry, you're right. clearly she's apologetic too, but I don't see anything here of you apologizing. You say that you did, but it's not here. All I see here is her apologizing. I don't know.
February 2018. That's me, by the way. Haven't had sex with anyone in a year. Fact check your shit. That's just my sense of humor. But with all of that,
interesting time for a sense of humor drop there. Fact check your shit as she's apologizing to you. Fact check your shit.
No, we did not technically date. We had somewhat of a fling, and to be honest, respectfully still, it was a mistake. It's led to horrible things in my life. I don't even know what has been said about me.
It's fine to have a fling and consider it a mistake or be regretful of it. But take some damn accountability.
To be honest, because with the best friends Ryan and Evan, and even the heart-to-heart that we had yesterday for 4 hours long in a Discord call where I cried at least 7 times.
Woe is me.
Them saying, Garedactyl's back, I'm so excited. I haven't spoken to you in so long. I've missed you. And I will show those messages in 2 seconds. Whenever we reconnected, before we actually got into it.
Okay. So, now we're going to get to one of the people that he mentioned in his video earlier. Just let it play for a minute.
I want to make sure you can read the text. That's why it's big enough. Otherwise, I'd like zoom out. So whenever we lived with the Downses, again, bless them and things.
That's on me. That's on me for allowing that. I apologize.
They didn't particularly like the fact that Johnny was gay, and then they ended up kicking us out for those reasons. Unfortunately, of course, I was roped into that as well. And I did support my friend. But
Gare, if you're watching this, you're going to want to maybe have a conversation with this person, because in a conversation that I had today, and it's not my business to release it, it's between the two of you guys, there seems to be a little bit that you left out there. And by a little bit, I mean a lot. So, I don't know. To paint this picture that you guys were simply kicked out because Johnny is gay, there's a lot of context that is missing there and should be added. But that's for the two of you to discuss if he wants to. And this is coming from that person that I spoke to on the phone today. Moving on. Let's see. Next one will go here.
About in that long 4 hours was I stopped by Zepha's stream.
Zafa! Zafa! Good Lord.
I guess Kai was there, things like that. They blocked me. They wanted nothing.
Kai was not there at the time. She was not there. She had no idea that you were back on the internet.
Nothing to do with me, that's fine. Now, let's keep in mind the timeline here was whenever I did delete our Discord and sort of push her out of my life, and that was January 2020, after we had the physical interaction, and she was essentially like worming her way into my dating life. Like, I was talking to a girl named Sandy. Sandy found out I had a Twitch stream.
Don't even get me started on Sandy. There's so much that can be said there. And trust me, if need be, I can get her to tell her side. Because trust me, she will speak with us instead of you. Let's talk about this just super quick though. Stopped by the stream the other day. Dude names off, and I just said, "Hey, hope you all are doing well." His mod banned me, and they were both like, "Nah, not interested, bro." And Kai came in. She didn't say anything mean at all, but her friends did. So, he came in, and his first message was a sound effect. His second message was in response to one of my mods asking a question about Sleep Token. And then I made the decision to ban him because, like I said, want nothing to do with him. And keep in mind, I am engaged to Kai Kai. So I've heard all the stories. And he wants to try and paint the picture that I just switched up out of nowhere and immediately sided with her. Homie, I was done with you long before any of this shit went down. And I've seen so much stuff to be able to formulate an opinion that I want nothing to do with you. And we'll get more into that about, the proof and whatnot. But get off your damn high horse. You didn't just come in. You disappeared for 6 years without a word and popped back up like nothing was wrong when I was already out of your community before you guys had a falling out and you left the internet. I was gone because of the way that you talked to me and treated me when I was just trying to support you and help you out through a difficult time that you were going through. But so be it, man. Whatever. You just showed back up. Oh, what do we got next here? Again, forgive me. I've never had to do anything like this. This is just all silly.
And how silly it was to us. We are in a legal battle with the mall that we had a physical business in and that sort of stuff. The mall lied about how much traffic they got. We didn't make sales. We could not make rent. We lost thousands of dollars. We sold our house and put that into inventory and then put that into the shop, hoping it would help as well as marketing. It didn't. We couldn't make rent. They're trying to sue us. My point here is,
why are they trying to sue you? You're in a legal battle because they lied about how much traffic the mall gets? It's interesting. What's the real reason? I'm curious. But whatever. What do we got next here? On we go. This is all still the same screenshot, which is why I'm not bothering to show it. I can if you guys want.
And I'm not talking bad about anybody. There's people that do not like me and despise me, apparently. It's been years. I still would not say bad things about them at all. But even with all of that, I still received, hey Garrett, both Evan and I have had talks with Kai today. Again, totally fine. I'm sorry, but there's been so much evidence and so many corroborating the facts. So many people corroborating the facts. See, unless there is a physical representation of evidence, hey, this person, yeah, they said this. Okay, so it is, any of this happened, oh my goodness, more than 5 years ago. And they still talk, the Discord community, those people, her friends, Kai's friends, and those people, they still talk, they're still tight. Of course, they would have a bit of an alliance, which I totally understand, and I'm not upset about, of course. You hold true to your friends, My friends abandoned me, but you gotta hold true to your friends.
First of all, my friends abandoned me. What about you for 6 years? What about you? Talk about abandoning. You just disappear for 6 years? What do you call that? Also, let me make this point real quick. Let me defend my fiance here for a moment because it kind of seems like you just assume that she's going around to each and every single person just, trying to strike you down because of, you being back on the internet. Like, she has not reached out to anybody. Everybody that has come looking for the reason as to why she doesn't like you and you guys had fallen out and whatever, they've come to her and she has responded accordingly. Not once has she gone out seeking to destroy you or cancel you. Never. She has been getting bombarded with messages from people who remember that things went down and you disappeared. Things went down and you took off from your channel, deleted your Discord, and ditched the internet for 6 years. That's where we're at. She is not out here trying to vilify you. She's telling her counts of the truth to people who are asking before they decide if they want to come back and bring you back in and a lot like welcome you in with open arms. Instead of doing that, they're looking for the other side. That's what's going on here. Let's move on.
Almost unfiltered 30-minute long video, and so I appreciate people for coming and listening. And I'm one part, if they want me off the internet, I'll leave the internet, but the other part is I feel I am a creative person.
Nobody is trying to keep you off the internet. You left yourself, and then you came back and acted as if nothing was wrong and just tried to pop up back into people's lives. It's amazing. You have probably no idea that I even had my issue with you because you never actually gave a shit about me. I was always just a number on a screen or a donator to line your pockets. And I told you that in a whisper after I banned you when you sent me the unban request. And I know you didn't respond. You probably didn't even look at it. But I don't know how you just didn't know that. But nobody wants you off the internet. No one gives a shit. You came back here to my community. You came back to my community. And we'll get back to it. We'll just let it roll here.
And the reason why I changed the name from Garedactyl was simply because I feel like I was misunderstood, or at least I portrayed myself as a one-note character back in the day.
You came into my stream with the Garedactyl account. You streamed back on your Garedactyl account. Yeah, I know you made another Twitch, but you came back with the Garedactyl account. So, no. Let's get back into some more stuff here.
And so we can finish this. I'm sorry. Her moving down to us, yeah, it was simply, you need to figure out the food stamp situation and the housing situation before moving down. And without doing so, I said that I and Johnny, we would be homeless because I suppose we were moving out of the Forbes' house. I do believe we moved there almost immediately the same time I got a job, which was September 3rd of 2019, like at Microsoft. So it must have been around that time. I don't know about us moving. I don't know exactly what happened there. I think we were being pushed out, and that's when we moved to what the residence is on Bedford.
You make the point that you and Johnny would end up homeless. Kai and the boys did end up homeless. They did. You talk about how she ended up in the women's shelter and how you were so glad that they allowed the boys in there because it's a women's shelter that doesn't view men in a good way, and you're happy that they allowed them in there. As if they're going to turn children away. But she did end up homeless. And you mentioned that they helped her get a job and a place. No, she got the job. And while the kids were in school, and then in after school, she would be working. And when she would get paid, she would be giving money to you. You helped her by giving her money to get down to Connecticut. But you leave out how she would be working and homeless in the shelter, doing her best to take care of her kids and save up to try and get a place, and giving you money. And yes, I have screenshots. And if you want me to, I will go there. We can have this discussion. But the amount of context that you leave out is ridiculous, disingenuous, and manipulative, which kind of seems to be the theme for you. What do we got here?
By the entire house. It was their house, essentially. I think it was certainly may have led her on, was not intentional, and I would love to have some grace on this. None of it was a, here's this thing, here's that thing. I mentioned the, I would be their dad if they asked, but that was specific for the kids and taking care of their kids. I actually have 2 kids of my own now, and the age they were then and the age mine are now, they look almost identical. And I do have a lot of like love and appreciation and care for those children that she takes care of. Not technically hers, but I guess it might be hers now at this point. But
no, technically hers, biologically hers, birthed by her. What in the hell? Her children that she raised essentially their entire lives on her own. And you loved them so much, you were willing to step up and be dad if you needed to. You sure seemed okay with taking money from her while she was in a shelter with those children. You whined to her about coming down and about you guys being homeless. Well, you guys weren't, but she and the children were. But you loved those children, huh? Sure seems like it. Sure seems like it. What do we got here now?
We're 40 minutes. The whole thing about the starving children, no, we were
Let's
at
talk
the mall,
about this.
you were with us. We just didn't have any money, but they weren't starving. I never said that. They weren't starving. I never said that. I said they were hungry, but I didn't tell you they were. I said they were hungry, but I didn't tell you they were. She didn't even tell me they were hungry. So it's something that I was being chastised and attacked for when I didn't even know what was going on.
Let me ask you something. How many times did you guys have a fight and she came back to you desperately wanting to not rekindle, but to come back to each other as friends and put it behind him? Now, a woman who's been manipulated and led on, how many times do they say what they think is the right thing to try and get back to the person that they are missing? Genuine question, because it happens all the time. Because to this day, she swears up and down on everything that was true. Because you go on to also say something about how you ate in front of the children, but you didn't know they were hungry. For someone who loves those children so much and is willing to be dad if he has to, I don't know. I would never bring my kids to a mall, go to a food court or whatever, get food for myself in front of them, and not at least offer to get them something. But I don't know. This is, I guess, is up for people to decide, but I think I'm going to go off the woman who I know more than anyone else in this world and have spent all these years with, growing a family together. Because what this message looks like to me is a girl who has been manipulated and strung along and led on. You can say you didn't mean to. You knew what you were doing. You knew what you were doing. And she's just trying so hard to get you back into her life.
It was later that people brought to my attention, hey, Kai said her children were starving and you didn't help her. I said they were hungry, but I didn't tell you they were. I can't fix a problem if I didn't even know it was there. I was not given a chance for that. Because I hate asking or admitting stuff. I'm sure if I did, you would have gotten them something. If you told me, I'm sure if I did, you would have gotten them something. Without a doubt, I would have fed those kids if they were hungry.
Why'd you eat in front of them? Why didn't you ask? You're grown men and they're young children, and you're at a food court in a mall. Don't you think any child, regardless if they had eaten recently or not, are probably going to be interested in getting something to eat at a cool place that they might not always get the opportunity to eat at. But I don't know. Maybe we just think differently.
I mean, I didn't have much money of my own, but I would literally give whatever was in my pocket to feed those kids.
You were getting money from her.
Without a doubt. I was never given the chance.
You don't need to be given the chance. Take the initiative as a man and offer to buy some children the food that you love so much, that you admire so much.
To say I'm sorry for letting things get too far. I know boundaries. I'm a grown woman, and I should have been better at telling you no. We are both to blame, and I forgive you.
I forgive you. I forgive you. She says, I should have been better at telling you no. Sounds like you might have been the one initiating things there when you knew her feelings for you. You knew. You knew. You go on in this to talk about the Ben situation, and that's not something that I can speak on because I was not a part of it. I can only give my 2 cents in the fact that I've met Ben. I've hung out with Ben. Seems like a good guy to me. Someone that I don't think would hurt a fly. But you guys had whatever issue, threatening, non-threatening, whatever happened there. I can't speak on that. But I don't know. Your guys' friendship crumbled after that situation where you were yelling and swearing at her for bringing Ben there when she says multiple times that Ben just wanted to meet you because he liked you. I can only say what I know of Ben, and he's always been a good guy with me. I can't speak on that, but I don't know. The way that you reacted to that, it's your right. If you want to end a friendship over that, that's fine. You spend the rest of this video showing the messages that Kai would send as a follow-up. I'm sorry, but a woman who had a crush on an influencer or a content creator, whatever, for a long time, that you blended the lines and you took things to levels that they shouldn't have been, and she felt used and manipulated, and it certainly seems like there was a power dynamic here. The girl who followed you to the East Coast ended up homeless and still giving you money. Why is it so surprising that when you cut her off, she would still have the mindset to try and reach out because she had been through so much with you? And I'm not saying that she was perfect. I don't know all the details of your guys' friendship that turned into more. But you absolutely led her on. And then want to make her seem crazy for holding on to any kind of hope that she wouldn't lose you in her life. I don't know if you've seen how some people feel after getting out of a manipulative relationship. And I don't mean like a dating relationship, but a relationship that you two had formed. But it took her time to grow and to heal. And she did. She healed and grew into the most wonderful person on this planet. Someone that I am so in love with and am grateful that I get to spend the rest of my life with. It took her time, but she moved on. And you coming back into the space is fine, but you jumped back into my community. You said to people that you're back to reclaim your empire. You said to people that had I not banned you, you would have been willing to talk to me and Kai. But you also told somebody that had you have known that me and Kai were together, you wouldn't have bothered at all. So, which one is it? The fact of the matter is I could frankly not give any less of a shit that you're back on the internet. You want to stream, come back to it, go right ahead. But stop with the woe is me. Everybody turned their back on me when you turned your back on everybody for 6 years when you left the internet without a word and came back as if nothing happened. If you really wanted to come back and show that you grew as a person, the first person you would have reached out to would be Kai. She should have been the very first person. Even if you're not looking to be friends, to squash that and address that, that should have been step one. But instead, you popped back up here as if nothing ever happened when you treated me and so many others like shit and blame everyone else and take little to no responsibility for anything that's happened and act as if we formed some hate mob that have been plotting you in case you ever came back. Absolutely not. I'm going to end this here, and I hope that this is the last of it. For God's sakes, just leave us alone. Quit your crying on the internet. And either go away again or keep yourself over there, because none of us want anything to do with you. And it's because of your actions. Your actions have led to this.